Lawrence W. Miller was born September 7, 1913, in Druzy, Oregon, to William W. and Frankie E. Ward Miller. He was the second youngest of 4 children. 1 week before Lawrence turned 16, he quit school and went to work at Pine Creek Ranch for Miller and Lux Cattle Company, also known as Pacific Livestock Company. During his employment with Miller and Lux, he was involved in several cattle drives from the White Horse Ranch in southeastern Oregon to Winnemucca, Nevada. One of the highlights of Lawrence's career was that he was involved with one of the last cattle drives to go to the railhead in Winnemucca, Nevada, as well as being the youngest person to carry the bullhead draft book for the Miller and Lux outfit. He carried it for 2.5 years to pay expenses when the buckaroos were away from the ranch. In 1932, Lawrence went to work for Bill Moffett, a rancher who ran over 15,000 head of cattle from Elko, Nevada into California. When the work ran out with Moffett, he caught a ride with a wagon, loaded his 2 slick fork saddles and his bedroll, and went to the Kearns Ranch, better known as the PX Ranch, north of Elko, Nevada. In 1935, Lawrence realized that he would never advance in life without an education. So at the age of 21, he returned home and finished high school. After he graduated, he joined the Army and served at Schofield Barracks in Oahu, Hawaii for 2 years. Then he returned to the Kearns Ranch, which was then managed by Angus Maxwell. He met his wife Margaret of 66 years, who happened to be the boss's daughter. Lawrence and Margaret were married in August of 1940. Through the years, Margaret helped Lawrence by cooking meals for crews and cowboying. Margaret and Lawrence enjoyed fishing and hunting. In 1944, when Newt Crumley sold the Kearns Ranch to Bing Crosby, Lawrence was kept on as ranch manager. In 1949, Lawrence went to work for Dr. Arnold Stevens, an absentee owner, and managed the Stevens Ranch, or Circle 10, north of Elko. The Stevens Ranch put up 1,400 tons of hay each year and ran 600 commercial Hereford cows and calves. Lawrence was still able to work as a buckaroo, his favorite job, but his responsibilities had increased to managing the overall operation as well. In September 1961, Lawrence, Margaret, and 4 of their 5 children moved again to the White Horse Ranch in southeastern Oregon, which was then owned by Ted Nafsker of Livermore, California. Lawrence was the superintendent over the cattle, as well as the farming of the ranch. From there they moved to the Roaring Springs Ranch in French Glen, Oregon, owned by Allied Land and Livestock. The Oregon holdings included 6 ranches that totaled 154,000 acres of deeded land. In 1968, after a back injury, Lawrence took a position at Simplot Cattle Company in Caldwell, Idaho, where they had a feedlot of 50,000 or more head of cattle, and he was responsible for the cows and calves. Here's a picture of him roping an escaped steer on the Caldwell Golf Course. Lawrence was able to retire from Simplots after 10 years. In 1980, Lawrence retired to his own small ranch in Parma, Idaho, and was happy with his own cattle to manage. In 1997, he sold this ranch and moved to the Adrian, Oregon area, where he really retired this time. Lawrence was an excellent hand with a horse, has probably forgotten more about raising cattle than most will ever know, and braided his own rawhide ropes. He also made great friends everywhere he went. Most buckaroos are never acknowledged for all their hard work, but Lawrence was. He was inducted into the Buckaroo Hall of Fame in September 2006. A dream come true.